Welcome back to another episode of Analyst Insider with me, Jack J. Now, if you're listening to this somewhere around the time it comes out, first of all, a very Merry Christmas. And as a special Christmas treat, what we're going to do today is try and interview two analysts at the same time. Now, we are speaking to Arcus and Viir, who were the analysts at Rogue during the 2022 season. And interestingly, they're two of the three analysts who actually worked there in kind of the wider Rogue team for that season. And it was one of the best performing seasons for Rogue. So we're not trying to say correlation and causation, but certainly it's a great sign to see a team clearly investing in data and analytics really outperform the other teams in the league, especially in contrast to some people we've spoken to who are the only analyst on the team and they may even work part-time. Now, reminder, if this is the sort of content you really enjoy, then I highly recommend you join the Itero Discord. There will be a link in the description. It's where like-minded people come together and share resources, discuss certain concepts, maybe help someone learn to code, whatever it may be. We're also doing more events like live Q&As and round tables and the occasional Clash tournament. So if that's the sort of thing you want to get involved with, then do find that link in the description and join us there. Now, please do bear with me because this is the first time I've tried interviewing two people at the same time, and it was harder than I thought it would be. So if you do have any feedback or comments, let me know, but hopefully you don't find it too off-putting and you can enjoy the whole episode. Pleasure having you, and it's going to be a bit of a new challenge for me to try and interview both of you at the same time, but we'll give it a go, and hopefully it goes well. So we're gonna jump straight into our very first question, which is just a kind of a review of your background, wherever that's in esports or even before esports, and then where you are now. So Arcus, we'll start with you. If you can just give us a quick overview of what you've been doing so far.
Okay, I study math, and I have master degree. I work as programmer before I interest about esport, and I started watch League of Legends about second season or third, but it's more for fun and play on the game. Then I more interested about esport, and I watch all worlds, professional games, and I want to try to join other organization, and I started as head coach, but it's not for me, and I changed position to analyst. Started on second division in Prime League. Then I joined to EBL, first Prime League, and in last year I joined to Rogue and started as data analyst because my background with programming is really useful for team when bias is provided data to team and professional games.
Awesome, thanks. Really cool. And same with you, Viir. Where's your background up until now?
So I started in sport maybe 5 years ago or 4 years ago because I started watching League, I think also like artists in the second season. And then I started as a team manager, like in small teams in my city. Then I jumped to the amateur of Spain, and in one event, one manager that was in a Superliga team recommended me to move to analyst position to get more knowledge, more people, contacts, everything. So I moved to analyst position at the same time as I was doing the manager things in the Academy of Tinkeso in Spain. And then after Tinkeso Academy, I was in Dusty in the NLC in winter. And after that, I applied for Ago Rogue and I started in Ago in Rogue. I was 2 years until now doing scouting analyst. So now
Amazing.
I'm like, I mean, I like analyst things, but also I miss sometimes the team manager job. So it's kind of a conflict in my mind sometimes, no? Because I like both things. So
Yeah, totally understandable. And I'm sure that you have, whatever you decide to do, I'm sure the skills that you've learned as an analyst are going to be really useful back if you decide to go back into a team manager role or something
yeah.
like that.
Also combine them was good. Yeah.
Yes, team manager / analyst would be quite
Yeah.
a difficult challenge, but I'm sure you could do it. So I think it would be useful to give some context that there's actually a third analyst within Rogue from the 2022 season, which is Blue Knight. So Arcus, can you just describe how you split your tasks as analysts between 3 people? Because there's a lot of teams out there who just have the one who does everything. So how do you guys approach the various different challenges that come up with having multiple people doing the same role?
Okay. Nico split whole work for us in LEC team, and we mainly focus for this. Nico present all the useful data or scouting patterns for players. My goal is provide data to help him do it faster. And I think about Viir position, it would be good if she can say it about that. But like I said, mainly for me it was provide the data application. Each of person from staff can log into application live filter what they want. They can give me some idea what I can create for them and help provide that in faster way than manually, because like I said at the start, bias give us a really useful data, and if I know how to use that and show clearly and clean for players, it would be good and helpful for the team.
Great, thanks. So it's kind of if we relate this to a more corporate word, it would be like a data analyst or a data engineer.
Yes.
Sort of skill set.
It's mainly for last year. I'm as data analyst for LEC team, but for Rogue, for Agorogue, I work with Blumigan and help them. Like Nico help main team, I help players and do presentation and work closer with this team as analyst position. But like you said, for LEC team, I mainly work as data analyst.
Cool. And would you say that of those 2 roles, one which is you summarizing the data and presenting it to teams, and the other one which is the more hardcore technical coding one, would you say there's one that you prefer more to the other, or do you think they're both valuable?
I think I like work with data, but on the other hand, I like to improve each split, and I want to learn something new. For me, it's both things. It's really interesting, and I want to improve. And maybe in future I can be like Nico as head analyst in other team, or work with other person and management their time split tasks. And it's my clear goal for next year for sure.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think there's such value in being diverse, even if you only spend a small amount of time learning about what a coach does or what a different type of analyst does,
Yes,
or even what it is to be a player. It just gives you more insight no matter what role you end up doing. So I think that's really valuable. So we'll now go back to Viir. Could you just, I think you just self-described yourself as a scouting analyst, but it'd be really great if you could just break that down into more detail, what sort of things you do every day and what sort of value you add to the team.
Yes, as Serge said, I mean, I'm a scouting analyst and he's data analyst, no? So what a scouting analyst does is more about patterns, about what's the games, about taking notes about everything that is happening to the game that maybe the APP is not having this data, no more manually. So I can spend my days watching games, taking notes about the objectives, the rotation, the everything is happening. Then you can have everything in the Google Sheet, and then you can see the patterns, and Nico can see what is going on here and what is repeating here. Maybe what I have to also improve is um, to do also the presentation, as Archer said. Like maybe it's my next step to move all the data I collect in the sheet to extract the best and do in a PowerPoint or something to present to the team. I think it's the skill I have to improve for next year, I guess.
Fantastic. That's really great that you've got an idea of where the next big easy win is for you on how to become a better analyst. I think that's so important for self-development, is knowing your strengths and weaknesses. I know there's lots of people who are interested in the scouting role because there is no way of learning it, right? You can't Google, how do I become an esports scout analyst? It's so niche. So I will ask on behalf of them, what do you have a methodology when you come to, let's say, do a VOD review for a team that you're playing on the weekend? Do you have Google Sheets open where you're taking notes? Are you taking print screens? Like how does that actually work? What is your methodology for watching a VOD?
For me, the question, or for in general?
For you, yeah.
I mean, I'm watching the VOD and then stopping the game. But I first, for example, do Drakes, for example, and I focus on Drakes, and then maybe the eras or whatever I need for this team, because maybe one team we need to focus more in vision, for example, and the other team we need more about objectives, or it depends, but mostly like this.
Cool. So you're watching the game and you might replay the dragon fight 4 or 5 times, and each time maybe you're writing notes or whatever.
Maybe not 4 or 5 times, but I mean, like what's the game 4 or 5 times, but I mean, first I focus on Drake, then focus on eras, or then but all the teams, in LEC or the league you are watching, you have to do this.
Cool. So you're taking away things that are harder to get in data. So you may be looking at things like the position of the players and how who's rotating at certain times and those sort of things.
Yeah, for example, if Nico said, okay, for this team I want this jungler, what is doing, or the rotation of the support, or it depends of because Nico knows about in general about the AC teams, so he mostly knows what he needs for the next game, so he can say, okay, for this team focus more in vision, or for this team focus more in rotation of the support of in jungle, or so then you focus on that.
Got it. Good stuff. And how about a common one that comes up is level 1 studying? Is that something that you get involved in, looking at potential traps that you might be able to do against a certain team?
I don't know. I like to say level 1s. I don't know.
Yeah, they're one of those things where I feel most analysts I talk to mention level 1 analysis, but they're so rare that they actually work in professional play nowadays. You just don't see it as often as you used to. So maybe not as worth the time.
I did that for a long time to watch the level 1. So for me, something that it's normal to do it, and I like it. I don't know.
Awesome, good stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty standard to do something. Patterns like you said, level 1 it's standard, and you need always check how team play on that. Well, it depends draft. or specific team players, how they like to invade, or they only can play standard and stay defensive on his side, and ward on the jungle or other specific plays. But I think you can do it automatically, like we have it in this year, and many things you can do that as programmer and with code, and you don't waste time for do it manually. But like we said, something it's more specific, and you need to look on vote and checked it few times how team plays, and it's more manually work, but it's really useful, like data provider um, or other things like analysts do, because it's not only you do that and it's end. You can improve in few things or skill set. You need always learn new things, and like you ask about um, patterns or how we do that, I can say I worked with 3 or 4 other coaches, and each coach like work with specific way, and he can look on this same situation in other way and focus on other things in team fights or dragons, because it depends mostly of about the coach vision or other things like team specific.
Got it. So although the role is as a whole is kind of the same, depending on which team you're in, you may be doing slightly different work every single
Yeah.
time, depending on the mentality of the coach and the players and the rest of the team.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
That's really interesting insight. Appreciate that. Now, Arcus, we'll stick with you here on just getting a bit of technical background. Can you just kind of describe the general architecture you work with? Is there sort of cloud providers that you're working with? What sort of coding language do you use? What is when it comes to the technical side of things, what is taking up most of your time?
Okay. Like I said, I started work as programmer, and I do front end mainly. But for esport, I learn Python and create own app on Python as backend and React on frontend. I think it's better to show players or coaches more clearly on app, and that's why I do that in this way. And I think it's more useful for team and clean, because like probably players like to see clean image or clean information, not a big only numbers, and they don't know how they can use that in game. But if you have a games knowledge and know what is important, you can use that automatically in app and show the patterns, and other things can be easily presented for players if you have a more technical background. Yeah, like I said, I learned Python only for esport. I don't know this language, and in 2 years I can do what I want. Other people maybe have similar skill set, but like we know, in esport it's not the big money. I think in other industry you can have more pay money, but if you like it, you can use that. And if you are data analyst as me, you can't have only programming skills, because you need to know what you can present players and how do that for them, and it's your hobby maybe, or something like that. You need to have passion to show them and show really useful things who can help win in game.
Yeah, awesome. I think a lot of this comes down to there's data creation, which is creating a database, wherever it's on a Google Sheet or wherever there's, you're storing it somewhere, it doesn't matter. And that just contains data. And that is relatively easy to do, right? You just go to Bayes and you request the data that you want to see.
Yeah.
That's it, right? There's a whole new step between that and actually producing useful results for a player that's going to make them make better decisions that makes them win more games. And that is much harder than people think it is, because you have to make it simple, you have to make it visually appealing, you have to make it easy to use, and more importantly, you have to actually do something that's going to change the result of a game, or at least change their perception of a player or perception of a team strategy that allows them to make better decisions, whether they know it or not, when they get into the game.
Yeah, you're right. And like you said, you can do one query to database, and doesn't matter it's money games, you have better performance in app than Google Sheet. But I think if you have a structured good Google Sheet, it can be really useful that my app. And it's okay if someone don't have programming skills and have a really good Google Sheet. He can help, and that much I can help, but he needs to work only with functions what he have in Google Sheet. Yeah, I can right now do something what a coach request, and do that because I have more knowledge and more way to show them. It's not it's not limited by other tool like Google Sheet.
Yeah, especially I know for Python, the open source community does so much work that it makes it really easy that if someone asks for a particular thing, let's say, I don't know, like a linear regression or something, there's always going to be a Python package that will be able to do it for you, which means you don't have to manually code it up within Google Sheet macros or whatever people do.
Yeah.
Crazy. And a lot of work and very hard to debug and all these other issues.
Yeah, that's why I learn Python, because I see around League of Legends you have a big community and they can help you when you have a problem. Of course, in other language like JavaScript or C++, you have similar community, but I want to learn something new and improve year by year, because it's more dependent what you can do in future. And if you stay in same place, you always be in the same place. I mean, if you don't want to improve, you can't go to LEC or major region. You stay in lower division like ERL or lower. But if you can improve split by split, and you have good coach to show you new skills or new vision, you can improve and be better like we are, because you see we started in small teams, but in few years we can help the best teams in Europe.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. And I think if anyone's listening and wondering if they should learn to code or not, that should be all the advertising you need to know that it's the right move to make if this is the sort of thing you're interested in. Cool. We're going to move on to the second part of the interview, which is more about career guidance. So helping people who are currently wanting to be analysts but don't have the experience or don't know how to start or don't know how to approach people, etc. So Viir, I'll just start with you on this one. I see you're quite active on Twitter compared to a lot of other analysts. So you have more followers than most of the analysts I speak to, etc. And you also mentioned that when you got your first role, it was someone recommended you because they knew you were really good. So they said you should hire Viir because she's really good at the role, right? So what my question is how important do you think it is to network and to meet people and to be involved in the community when it comes to getting jobs in the LEC and the LCS?
The point here, I mean, the is to make contacts. The first step, like coaches, managers, other analysts to improve your knowledge, also to improve together. No, like maybe you share with someone one for your point of view, and then the other person can also his point of view. No, and then help each other by Twitter, by recommending people. Even for players, no, if you have one player that is looking for team, you can help also, and then this player can also recommend you because they know that they are looking for analyst or for manager. I mean, like a community, no, like if I know that one team is looking for an analyst, then for example Artes is looking for team, I can say, okay, I know Artes, and I can recommend him. And the same for the same position, the same for make the samples, then you can show them to the people that they are looking the person, the analyst or whatever. Also for the coach, also the same. I mean, to have something that you can show to them, and then into
Awesome.
the tryouts. And and by the way, I would like to add one thing about the other question that you asked to Artes. Can I do it now?
Yeah, perfect.
What he said about the when he was comparing the Google Sheets with the biasing on the APP. I have to agree to this because I also have some samples of the, like for example, graphs or tables with data and this. And it's true that you can have this data also, but of course you have some limits that you don't. Maybe you can't program what he has, but similar, but not maybe the exactly thing you can get it. No, like of course I can do. Maybe I can have drafts. I can have some data, win rates, whatever, picks or bands, or but then you maybe not the same way that maybe artists can present in the APP the data.
Yeah, it's great to hear your perspective on the value that brings, because it's an incredibly difficult challenge to get to the point that you've got to, Arcus. So it's always good to hear that it's bringing value, and I think that's super important. I'd like to ask a similar sort of question to you, Arcus. You actually came up in another interview where someone used you as an example of someone who's kind of come from nowhere, as in like you've very quickly gone from no team to Rogue in a short space of time. And they said you did that via just showing value, right? So I'd love to hear more about tips that you would give to someone who maybe is more into the programming side of things. How do they get their work recognized? How do they get people to see what they're doing and kind of get seen by these big LEC teams?
Yeah, I think you need to show them more community person, like I say, like I showed my first app 2 years ago probably, or 1 year ago, and I have more feedback from people. They ask me how I do that. They give me some more ideas, and it's important to show your work, your tool to other person, because you have more feedback from them and you have improved this tool. And it's really important for me. I can improve tool because I show them, uh, and they give me feedback, and it's good way to improve your skills. And I mean, don't scary about show your work publicly, because it's really important to build networking, like said Viir. And if you showed that and person known you, you can climb faster. And if you have this skill in programming, you can help other people. I have really many messages from other analysts, and they want to learn programming, and I give him advice or tips or links uh, to other tutorials or courses about programming, and they learn it, and in next few weeks they message me again, and I can give them more tips. And I think it's more important to show community what you can, how you can help team. And I think networking is okay to build, but it's not the most important thing, because if you have if you know many people, it's not a big deal if you can't show your usefulness for team.
Yeah, exactly. So there's two points there. The first one comes up all the time in interviews, which is great, and I completely agree with it. Is that there's no point hiding your work forever and constantly working on it, because the people who are going to give you the best feedback are people in the community. So you need to send it to them, and the first time you do it, your whatever you're sending them is going to be pretty bad, but you're going to get really good feedback. And as long as you do something with that feedback, it's going to get better and better every time you do that. So that's super important.
Yeah, you see other perspective from other persons. And if I join to esport, I don't have a really big knowledge about the game, and I don't know what is important or not. But if I showed my tool to other person, like coaches, more experienced analysts, they give me feedback, and I can improve that feature or statistic, and it's improve my tool. And in my situation, if I showed up, it's some unique, and someone can copy that, and it's more harder to maybe steal or something like that, because if you show Google Sheet, they can copy that and see what you can how you can do that. But with my app, you are more safety, because it's your code. I can give access to the tool, but they don't know what is in files or how it works. Of course, it's pretty simple to write something basic statistic like KDA and get it from API or bias. But more advanced features like wording, level 1, like we talked earlier, or heat maps, it's really useful for players, and show them in one graphic or image. And you can't do that in Google Sheet right now. Yeah, of course you can do that in code and copy paste to Google Sheet or Google presentation, but you need to know how to do that with code.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really interesting. A really interesting point. I hadn't really considered the whole potentially someone stealing the work because obviously with an app you're hiding everything behind APIs and data points, so it's very difficult to then just copy and paste it, which I have seen on Google Sheets because you literally press file, make a copy, and you have access to it. It's a bit more dangerous, right? There's some security protocols that need to be considered. Awesome. So we are running out of time. I hadn't really appreciated how much longer it would take to interview two people as opposed to one. So we won't really have time to go into the Discord questions. There is one for you, Arcus, which if you can do in just 60 seconds, which is maybe a bit difficult to ask, but there's rumors that Bayes and Grid are going to start providing sort of subscription-based data tools that kind of replicate what an analyst does. So do you have any thoughts about that and whether it's kind of an issue for upcoming analysts that they need to be aware of, or is it not because they're providing such a different service to what you guys are doing that it's not competition as such?
Maybe it's danger for data analysts, but like I said, it's not only coding knowledge. If you know game, you can improve split by split and think about more useful statistic. And it's not only scrap data and show them. It's more about thinking how you can improve and show cleaner for players. And Bias and Grid can do a tool for maybe basic things, but it's not a danger for the biggest data analysts because they can do more features useful for the team.
100%. That would be my response as well, that Bayes and Grid might be able to provide KDAs and jungle proximities and stuff, which are great. And that is the basic level thing that you should be learning if you are an analyst. But there is so much more that you do. And if you were a coach and you wanted some custom metric or to understand something, if you had to go through that data platform, it would take months before that's available.
Yeah.
But with you can ask and you can code up something, and you might not have it ready on the app, but you'll certainly have a version of it ready in a couple of days at most, right? So that's, for me, one of the big advantages is just customization, being able to do whatever you need very quickly.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll close with a very final question that we ask all of our analysts when they come on. So Viir, we'll start with you. Could you tell us what your favorite statistic is?
I think I like a vision statistic. Also, last split, I think a part of the vision, we made some stats about what was the first word on this, and I don't know. I like it. I like to do this one. I mean, a part of the vision to know where they put the first word on to do the numbers, not the percentage on the place where they put the word.
Yeah, awesome. So like, how often do they? So if you're a mid laner, how often do they put it in the lane brush, whatever that's called, and how often do they put it in the river? Would mean that there's potential gank paths that no one was aware of until you start visualizing and showing that data and saying 90% of the time they're putting it in the river, and therefore the lane brush is kind of unseen. So I'm sure there's loads of cool things you can do just with that one statistic. Love that. Arcus, same question to you. What is your favorite statistic?
I can say forward percentage. I created something similar to base on position champion in game. Of course, it's include only laning, and you can show how aggressive players is in on lane, and depends champion you can you can see patterns how he can play with waves, and I think it's the most important in early game, because I have a basic thing created right now, but I want to improve that based on jungle position and show how it can be dangerous in game. He play too aggressive because your jungler is on the other side, but mainly it's something similar like forward percentage.
Awesome, great. That's actually a great one because it's unique. So a lot of the stats we get are people kind of say the similar sort of things, but forward percentage is certainly one we haven't had yet on the show. So it's good to hear kind of very different statistics that we can get. We'll close the interview out here. We're recording this on the 2nd of December, but this is coming out on the 22nd of December. So I will just say a Merry Christmas to both of you prematurely for us, but relevant when it comes out. And thanks again for you guys for joining this.
Thank you for the interview.
Awesome. Is there anywhere that you want to shout out, whether it's a website or a Twitter or anything? Start with you, Arcus.
I only have a Twitter in social media, and you can look on me at ArchesLol on the Twitter.
Fantastic. How about you, Viir?
I mean, my Twitter maybe is a bit difficult to.
I can link it.
Maybe you can link it and keep them, because I changed my Twitter. I prefer to have a new one now, and if you follow me there, it's better.
Cool. We'll put both of your Twitter links, and you guys can follow them both there. Thanks again, both, for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.